More madness. And I'm not talking about the college basketball right now. We talk about the college basketball often, but today is Thursday, March 17th. We're recording on Wednesday, March 16th at 2 in the afternoon. So chances are Correa is going to sign his 1-year, $95 million deal with the Milwaukee Brewers very soon.
Yes.
But we had a lot of stuff happen very early in the morning. This is like free agent frenzy part 5 this week for us.
Part 4. Monday was absolute lunacy. It seemed like half of the available free agents signed. Then we had a Matt Olson extension day and Andrew McCutchen signing with the Brewers and Heath Hembree signing with the Pirates.
Perfect.
People forget about the Pirates. And that's all we had. And then we wake up this morning, bang, 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 bang in the span of 2 hours. And I feel like we're just going to get more coming in later today. It's crazy.
Yeah, so the big one, obviously, Steven Brault is a Chicago Cub. That's massive.
That's the big one. The other ones we'll talk about, but Steven Brault to the Cubs, earth-shattering stuff.
I think he's a man of the theater. Like, I think he was the lead in a play or something. Like, there's something musical and musical theater oriented about him. I could Wikipedia, but I don't want to take time on this podcast to do that. I can do that in my free time if I so choose. So let's actually start with the big thing, right? Oakland is continuing their teardown. Matt Chapman, the platinum glover, is sent to Toronto to create the Thanos of baseball for Kevin Smith, Gunnar Hoglund, Zach Logue, and Kirby Snead. This was a fleecing by Toronto, who has 2 full years of control of Matt Chapman.
Was it a fleecing? That's your opinion? Why do you think it's such a fleecing?
Because I don't think Kevin Smith is that good.
Yeah.
I think Hoglund can be good, but I think his ceiling was a fine 3.
Also coming off TJ.
Zach Logue and Kirby Snead are meh. They're organizational fillers.
They're also older, right? That was where I was a little bit confused, that you got a 25-year-old and a 27-year-old pitcher. Gunnar Hoglund is 21. He's going to turn 22. And Kevin Smith, also another guy, 25 years old. These are MLB ready pieces. And, once that trade went off, the Just Baseball group chat started going wild. And Aram had the point that the A's are looking for more MLB ready type players because maybe of the new move. Maybe the A's are moving to Vegas, that new stadium, 2024, 2025. But my thought is, will the A's be competing then? I know they might be opening up a new stadium, and that's, of course, speculation, but you'd think that they'd want to be diving into the 18, 19-year-old, 20-year-olds in the complex league and the rookie ball and grabbing some of those guys, because the window is not now. So that's why I would say that maybe it's not a fleecing, because Matt Chapman is coming off an injury. I hope that he's going to be good. And I think we're assuming, because, it's a hip thing with Matt Chapman, has a year to heal, obviously, from that. Then he comes back, slugs 500 again, like he did every other year before last year. That could happen, or this could be the Matt Chapman that we're seeing. So hard to call it a fleecing yet, depending on what we see from Matt Chapman. But we do remember that the last time the Blue Jays traded for the A's third baseman, he won an MVP the next year. That's Josh Donaldson.
Yeah, that was like Donaldson for Brett Laurie and another piece that turned into anything.
Yeah.
That was horrible.
That was
so I don't really know what the A's are doing right now. Obviously, I don't know what they're doing because they're trading all their best players, right? They trade Olson, they trade Bassett, they trade Chapman. By all accounts, it sounds like Minaya and Montes are next out the door. I don't think they should even hold on to Sean Murphy at that time. I think they should just let him go. With Olson, the main pieces back were Shea Langoliers, who is close to MLB ready as a catcher, who might be good. But like, do you see a top 10 catcher in baseball in Shea Langoliers?
Top 10 catcher?
See, it's hard. You can't say anything with
conviction.
Can't say that.
I
Christian Pache, we don't think is a very good prospect.
I think Shea Langoliers is better than Christian Pache.
Yes.
And that's a crazy hot take depending on rankings, because you might see Christian Pache in top 20 rankings and Shea Langoliers not even making the top 100. But that's where I'm at, and I assume that's where you're at too.
He can't hit.
Shea Langoliers can hit, and he can play a great defensive catcher as well.
He can't hit. So I'm looking at the main return here. The main return is Gunnar Hoglund, who might be a 3, but is coming off of Tommy John. And then Kevin Smith, who is an older middle infield prospect.
Aram did say that Hoglund might be a top 100 guy on the next update, that
He's
he's
really
in that
good.
sort of range. He could be really good. Yes.
He was very, very good at Ole Miss. We'll see what he's looking at. But then you look at the Bassett deal. They get a ground ball guy. Granted, a really good ground ball guy, but a ground ball guy back in JT Ginn. So you had a lot of talent.
Yeah.
I don't think they're getting the best bang for their buck here.
I don't think so either. I think the Reds did a better job than they did, right?
Yes.
The Reds have done a much better job than the Oakland A's have. I mean, remember, Matt Chapman is the star, and of course Matt Olson. But like, if Matt Olson got that and Matt Chapman got that, what do you think the A's are going to get for Frankie Montas or Sean Murphy? And we've heard that the Royals are now aggressively pursuing Frankie Montas as well. They want to add the A's starter, but they still have Sean Manaea, of course. I think the A's were planning to have this enormous prospect haul, have their farm system shoot right back up into the top 5, or maybe even, if you're trading away your whole team, your prospect system should be in the top 3 if you're trading away like 6 or 7 MLB ready stars. But I don't think it's going to be.
So the White Sox want one of them. The White Sox want Manaea or Montes. Kansas City really wants Montes. I don't know if they really want Manaea, but the White Sox, I think, are a better fit for Manaea because you just need a lefty with Rodon out of the rotation. Anything to get at Kid Keuchel out of the rotation. I don't need Dallas Keuchel in the starting rotation for a team that can actually win the World Series. So if you can get Manaea and just kick Keuchel to the curb, that would be best case scenario. So both those guys are going to be on the move. Both those guys are going to get solid returns, but I don't know what the return looks like here. Like if you were going to go get Sean Manaea as the White Sox, would it be something like Sheets and a pitcher like Sheets and Andrew Dahlquist? Like that doesn't move the needle for A's fans.
Sean Manaea is not that great. He's a solid starter, but he's also, we talked about it yesterday with Arm, weirdly old, like 29, 30 years old Sean Manaea is. I don't think it's going to be that expensive. Frankie Montas is really the key, and Sean Murphy are really the keys in how they're going to get back the best prospects, because those, Sean Murphy, 26-year-old catcher, really solid catcher at that. Frankie Montas, same story with him. But Sean Manaea is not going to get a lot. So you better hit a home run in a Sean Murphy or Frankie Montas trade, because Sean Manaea, I agree with you, not going to move the needle that much.
No. Montes, I don't even know if you're going to move the needle that much, because Montes is already like 29 years old.
Low key, he's a little bit older. Is he 29? I thought he was 28.
28, 29, same deal, right?
Still, yeah, he's deceptively old as well. Not as old as Manaea, but deceptively old.
Yeah. Murphy, I think, should be the next one to go, because you're going to get a really good return for Murphy. You just got your catcher of the future with Langoliers, and you can move Soderstrom away from the catching position. He was never a catcher. He's a first baseman. Just put him at first.
That's why I think the Yankees are kind of squaring up for a deal for Sean Murphy and maybe one of those starting pitchers, because remember, the A's could use a first baseman, maybe Luke Voit. Could they use Gleyber Torres, some MLB ready talent? They love Oswald Peraza, the Yankees' second best shortstop prospect to Anthony Volpe. There's a lot of things, there's a lot of different areas, but I think the Yankees, with the platoon of Higashioka and the guy that they got from Minnesota, that's not going to cut it as a starting shortstop.
Say his name.
Ben Rortvedt?
Yeah, Rortvedt. Okay. I just wanted you to say his name because it's bad.
I liked Colby had a good text that I said, someone asked in our group chat, who's going to be the opening day catcher for the Yankees? And I said a platoon between backups. He combined them. You know how we did Dick Monfort, Dick Monfort is an actual owner of the Rockies.
Well, we did Dick
Walkton.
Dick Walkton, yeah.
For the guys with Rich Hill and Michael Wacha on the Red Sox.
And James Paxton, yeah. Dick Walkton.
Higashioka. That's the name.
Higashioka. That's horrible.
I mean, that's just not going to move the needle at all. That's not even real.
And I think if Peraza is a headliner, you can go get Montes and Murphy in the same deal. There obviously needs to be more pieces.
Yeah.
But Peraza, I think has to be in that deal, and he can get 2 for the same deal done. Yankees did go get their first baseman, though.
Can I throw one at you? Yeah. Peraza, before we move on to the Yankees' new first baseman, Peraza, Voit, and Luis Medina for Montes and Sean Murphy. I wonder if that would get it done.
You might need another prospect.
But if I'm a Yankee fan, I'm doing that deal.
Yeah, well, absolutely. But if you have to throw in another prospect,
Depends on who that prospect is.
yeah, I don't know. And I'm not going to throw a name at you right now, but I could see something along those lines with somebody else that is enticing, get it done for the both of them. But they did just sign their first baseman in free agency. Anthony Rizzo, 2 years, $32 million. For what Rizzo is now, it feels like an overpay.
Does it? 2 years, 32 didn't seem that bad to me. For example, I mean, he's not to the level of Kyle Schwarber, obviously, right now, but Kyle Schwarber signed for 4 years, 79 million as well. And I know we're going to talk about him later, but 2 years, 32 million for a first baseman who's still great defensively, still has really good bat to ball skills, could hit you 20 home runs in Yankee Stadium on a full season, good leader, good clubhouse guy. And he wants to be in New York too. And he was certainly not the problem for the Yankees last year. I don't see it as an overpay, especially because it's such a short contract. I actually thought it was a kind of a good signing for the Yankees.
He hit 248 with a 743 OPS and 22 homers in 141 games last year.
Do you think he's going to be worse at Yankee Stadium? Because remember, some of that was with Chicago, and he did perform pretty well with the Yankees.
He hit 248 in 92 games with the Cubs. He hit 249 in 49 games with the Yankees. He had a worse OPS in New York than he did in Chicago, 792 compared to 768. As somebody that really wants to see Rizzo succeed again, like I would like to see him get back up to 280, 290, like I know we can be, but Anthony Rizzo is about to turn 33 years old this year.
33 and 34 age seasons, not too bad.
Not bad. Now here's something else that you got to factor in. Aaron Judge is also in this boat here. New York City is being screwed right now. Kyrie Irving is being absolutely screwed. And like, I'm okay. Pro-vax, like I'm pro-vaccination for sure, but this New York City mandate is just stupid right now, prohibiting these athletes who are not vaccinated to play. But if opening day rolls around and this vaccine mandate is not lifted in New York City, the guy that you just signed for $32 million in Anthony Rizzo can't be your opening day first baseman, which kind of sucks. That's a wrinkle there. I don't think that should prohibit you from signing them. I don't think that should be a non-starter because I think that mandate should be lifted and will be lifted eventually. But you have to factor that in, that you might be playing with a temporary player for the first part of the year.
I will be perfectly honest. This is the first I'm hearing that Anthony Rizzo does not have his vaccine.
Really?
It's the first I'm hearing of this.
I was making the Tony Novak jokes at the end of last year.
I thought he might have had it by now.
Nah, no, I don't think so. I think he's anti-vax. Aaron Judge doesn't have the vaccine either.
I knew that. You still got to extend him though.
Still got to extend him because he's amazing.
Yes. New York City is getting screwed. Kyrie Irving not being able to play, but being able to sit courtside without a mask
is weird.
Makes no sense. And the guys can attend the games, but then can't play in the games. That doesn't make any sense to me. And yeah, get your vaccine. If you don't, you don't. But the MLB players, it has nothing to do with the listeners or us. It has to do with the players. And the matter of the fact is, if they don't get the vaccine, they won't play, especially at home in New York City.
So I'm going to throw you two lineups, and you tell me how much better the Jays lineup is than the Yankees.
All right.
Okay? The Yankees lineup, Anthony Rizzo at first, maybe leading off Anthony Rizzo. Aaron Judge in right. Giancarlo Stanton is the DH. Josh Donaldson at third. Joey Gallo in left. Gleyber Torres at second. Aaron Hicks in center. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa at short. Ben Rortvedt, Kyle Higashioka as the catcher.
Not that bad.
You tweeted out the Jays starting lineup, and let me pull that up real quick.
Stacked.
It's
better.
The Jays starting lineup per @PeterApple23 on Twitter is George Springer in center, Bo Bichette at short, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. at first, Teoscar Hernandez as the DH, Lourdes Gurriel Jr. as the left fielder, Matt Chapman as the third baseman, Randall Grichuk in right, Kevin Biggio at second, Danny Jansen, Alejandro Kirk as the catcher. And then you look at the starting rotations, and you've got Garrett Cole, one of the best pitchers on the planet for New York, as the ace. Luis Severino apparently looks really good right now, so he's the 2. Montgomery is the 3. Who are the 4 and 5?
For the Yankees?
Yeah.
Well, you're forgetting like Luis Heel, Nestor Cortez, Jamison Tyone. They have a ton of they have like 7 arms, and I don't think they've come to a conclusion on who's the first 5.
So the Jays have Barrios as the 1, Gausman as the 2, Manoah as the 3, Kikuchi as the 4, Ryu as the 5.
It's better. The Blue Jays are better than the Yankees.
But like, how much is the big question?
They're better. I don't know if they're tons better, but they're better, and they're probably the number 1 team in the American League East right now. Maybe the Rays. I mean, the Rays don't even have to add anybody, and they'll just still figure out a way to be on top. But if we're talking about on paper, the Blue Jays have the best team in the American League East, and the Blue Jays are aggressively pursuing Jose Ramirez to play second base this year. If they do that, they are the favorites in the entire sport.
Yes, I'm so with you there. They bypass the Dodgers.
But doubtful that they actually do it, right?
Doubtful. It's more likely that the Dodgers go and get Freddie Freeman than
I would say so.
The Blue Jays going to get Jose Ramirez.
Yes.
Next one I want to go over is one that you mentioned in passing, 4 years, 79 for Kyle Schwarber to Philly. Schwarber is a thumper. He adds another bat to a team that needed bats. You've got somebody to protect Bryce Harper now, and I love this deal.
Again, you called the Rizzo deal a bit expensive. Is this not a bit expensive? 4 years, $79 million? Or are you just trying to bag on the Yankees because I'm on the podcast?
No, I would absolutely bag on the Phillies if I thought this was a bad deal. And yes,
I don't think it's a bad deal. I just think we need to be unbiased journalists here. Because think Schwarber, if Rizzo 2 for 32 is some overpay, and Schwarber 4 for 79 is a great deal. Come on.
I think Schwarber is way more valuable than Rizzo is at this juncture.
Schwarber's not going to play any defense.
Yeah, but he can play left field.
How good? He's slotted in as the DH right now. Like, they still have Adam Hazley in left. Like, I was just watching MLB Network like an hour ago. Schwarber's going to be the DH and Hazley's still in left field. So you just paid $79 million for a DH for 4 years.
Yeah, but he's a really good DH now.
He's a very good DH, and I like it for the Phillies. I predicted Schwarber to the Phillies, but 4 years, 79 felt like a lot, but he's still a thumper. I agree. He can still rake. I'm not disservicing the Phillies. I just want us to be, equal.
Yeah. You know what they should absolutely do is go sign Chris Bryant right now.
Right now. They need an outfielder still, or Conforto. Go get Conforto. Either one of those guys. Castellanos is still available, but you can't get Castellanos after getting Schwarber, especially if you're the Phillies. You're just saying, we will not play any defense.
We don't care about defense.
Don't care.
Can we have 2 DHs?
They just got Schwarber, and they need defense so bad. That's why 4 years, 79 felt a little much to me, but they do need that bat. So at least for next year, great move right there.
The price of winning. I like the move. I think he could be good for the entirety of the deal. I think he can give you 30 homers each of the next 4 years.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's
a little bit younger than Rizzo.
Yeah, he is.
Cubs, the former team that had Anthony Rizzo, Kyle Schwarber, and Chris Bryant, just signed Seiya Suzuki. What does this say? 5 years, $85 million. There was a $15 million posting fee. He's making $17 million a year. There is a full no trade clause in this 5-year deal for a guy that has never played stateside, according to Ken Rosenthal. That scares the living shit out of me.
It's definitely scary, but if we're talking about Seiya Suzuki, I wrote a full article again detailing what he looks like coming over from the NPB. I want to just read you his stats coming over from 2016 through 2021. This 6-year stretch was frankly unbelievable. 317, 420 on base, 586 slugging with an OPS over 1,000, 177 home runs, 77 stolen bases, and he walked almost as much as he struck out. He hit at least 325 times with a WRC plus north of 180 4 times. So he's going to be a corner outfielder. And for example, guys like Shogo Akiyama, Yoshi Tsutsugo came over. They weren't even close to the amount of production that Seiya Suzuki had. For example, just in their last year, Seiya Suzuki hit 38 bombs, had an OPS near 1100. Tetsugo, OPS under 900. Shogo Akiyama, under 875. This is a much better player. But the funny thing is, a lot of publications, like even I wrote the article, I predicted 5 years, 50 million. Like MLB Trade Rumors had 5 for 55. Fangraphs said 4 for 48. That's where we thought the contract would be. So that's what was the most shocking thing, that they gave him 70 million. But I think that goes to show how much potential Seiya Suzuki has, because if you look at their stats side by side, Seiya Suzuki and Hideki Matsui, almost identical stats coming. What did Hideki Matsui do? Won a World Series, won a World Series MVP, hit 280 basically his entire time stateside with 25 bombs and 100 RBIs every single year. That's what we could be seeing from a 27-year-old outfielder, when most of the guys are defensive liabilities or older. Or so I thought it was a great move for the Cubs.
Yeah, I mean, look at track record, right? You say Akiyama, you say some other guys who have come over recently, Kohei Arihara, right? They don't come over with the success that Suzuki comes over with. And they didn't get signed to big deals like the one that Suzuki just got signed to. Shohei Ohtani's a different beast. I don't want to talk about Ohtani. But when you look at the two recent big deals like this for Japanese players coming over from Nippon Professional Baseball, which is the second best professional baseball league in the world. The two most recent notable signings that were for big money out of Japan are Yu Darvish, who worked out really well for Texas, and Masahiro Tanaka, who I know there were some flaws. I know he was in a toxic market, but he worked out, all things told, really well for the Yankees.
Really well. There is success that comes over from these guys. That on the hitting side, that's what you're saying, not as much, but this is a far better hitter than what we've seen come over from the MPB. Like even I'll just read you. Let me see. Do I have?
He was the best hitter in the league. I'll give you last year's numbers for Seiya Suzuki.
Yeah, there you go.
Last year's numbers, 132 games. He hit 317 with a 433 OBP. So that's more than a 100-point jump from batting average to OBP. He had an OPS at 1,073. That's just shy of 1,100 with the OPS. He hit 38 bombs in 132 games. He walked 87 times. He struck out 88 times. This guy has good bat to ball. He's got pop. I don't think 38 translates into 38. I think 38 translates into 25 to 28.
I think even 20 to 25. Like even Hideki Matsui hit 50 home runs in his last year and came over and hit around 28 home runs. So I see 20 to 25 home runs for a guy like Seiya Suzuki.
Sign me up for 270 with 25 homers.
Oh, and he's going to steal you a couple bags too. He stole a bunch of bases. He wasn't very efficient though, but he's got speed. He's just a really good athlete. Like he won 3 Golden Gloves in right field in the MPB as well. But then again, he's not a crazy great defender, but at least you're getting a serviceable to above average defender. And just to recap on Seiya Suzuki versus Hideki Matsui, like these are their careers. Seiya Suzuki, career in the MPB, 316, 415, 572 slugging, 987 OPS, 170 WRC plus. Hideki Matsui, 304, 413, 582, 996 OPS, 168 WRC plus. Almost identical.
Comparable, super comparable.
I mean, the stats, they don't lie. And, that's why, but I thought he was really going to go to the Red Sox. He follows the Red Sox on social media. Xander Bogaerts is apparently his favorite player. He has the really close connection with Koji Uehara, who again was a former Red Sox, but he's on the Cubs. And the Cubs were not a team that was in on Seiya, or at least not from the reports, and they nabbed him.
Well, next, Seiya just signs with the MLB executive offices because he's just following the Theo Epstein track right now. Red Sox to the Cubs to the MLB front office.
That's exactly what he's going to be. It's going to be with Mike Schilt. He's going to join him as well.
Atlanta just got the NLCS MVP again. Eddie Rosario, 2 years, $18 million with a club option for 2024. Rosario is a very nice complementary piece to this Braves roster.
Good signing. They got him back. He's clutch for them. Obviously worked, meshed with the clubhouse. Good signing for them.
With what Anthopoulos just did with Olsen and signing him to the extension, is this guy becoming like a top 5 executive in baseball?
Might be the best. or one of the best. I mean, there's Farhan. This is the upper tier. Farhan Zaidi, Andrew Friedman, Eric Neander, and Stearns. Alex Anthopoulos.
Better than Preller.
Better than Preller. Better than Cashman. Better
Rick
than
Hahn is up there.
Rick Hahn is up there. Rick Hahn is up there. But the White Sox haven't had that same level of success yet.
Right. I mean, Anthopoulos just traded for 4 outfielders and won a World Series with the Bad News Bears.
Good job with the Blue Jays too. Remember the R.A. Dickey trade?
Yeah.
Noah Syndergaard.
Oh God.
He can do something. He's a great executive. And if you look at their payroll too, they have the most studly cast of characters. Not over the luxury tax, not even close.
No, not even. I mean, 8 years, 100 for Acuna, and then 7 years for 35 for Albies.
And then 8 for 168 for Matt Olson.
That's a deal. That's a deal.
Freddie Freeman was looking for 5 for 150. I mean, he basically just got a younger 27-year-old Matt Olson for 8 years at age 27 versus Freddie Freeman at age 32 for 6 for like the same amount of money. It's not even close. Braves have been killing it. And they've also signed Colin McHugh. They added another bullpen arm today. They're rolling.
Yeah, how about McHugh going to Atlanta? Did you guys talk about that yesterday?
We talked about it yesterday, but great signing. One of the best relievers available on the free agent market, and they nabbed him for a year.
Adding him to Matzik, Minter, Jackson, and Smith?
Locked down. Jesse Chavez. Oh, no, Jesse Chavez is gone.
He's a Cub.
He's a Cub. Great deal for the Cubs.
I don't know. I don't know about that.
I'm trying to be optimistic.
Yeah, you know what? I'm trying to talk myself into Suzuki bit by bit. Because it scares me, like when the idea of him signing with somebody else was out there, I was like, oh yeah, he's going to be a star. And then he comes to Chicago and I create this doomsday scenario where I'm like, wait, he could come over and just flub because we don't really know. It's like, grabbing Kristaps Porzingis 4th overall in the draft.
I know. And then there was booing on draft night. It is certainly a lottery ticket. But the good thing is that, at least offensively, and the stats show this is the best to come over in a very long time.
Yes.
And we're not really counting Shohei Ohtani because he's just a freaking missile from Mars. Like we have no idea if he was even born on this planet. We don't know for sure. We don't know for sure if Shohei Ohtani was born on Earth.
I actually didn't know that the Martians were developing nuclear weaponry. Missile from Mars.
Yeah.
Huh. Missile from Mars.
Missile from Mars.
Are they part of NATO? The Tigers signed Andrew Chapman to 2 years, $13 million.
Good deal for the Tigers. Everybody wanted him. Tigers got him. Andrew Chafin, we've been giving him away to basically every team on our GM episodes. And there he goes. Andrew Chafin to the Detroit Tigers.
But what if he has like a 4.8 ERA?
Very possible.
Very possible. I'd say borderline likely.
No, not borderline likely.
I'd say borderline likely.
Got a good slider.
Okay. He's got a good haircut.
Got a good haircut. Got a good head on his shoulders. He's joyful. He's plump.
He is. He's 6'2", 235. He's from Kettering, Ohio. So getting back to the Midwest. This guy's career ERA, 3.30. All right.
What are you smoking on 4.88?
He had a 3.76 ERA across 77 outings with Arizona. He had a 6.75 in 2016, but he's been consistently pretty solid.
Yeah. Don't sleep on my boy. Tiger's got a good one.
Tiger's got a pretty good one. All right. That should help. We're done with the signings for the meantime. Let's get to injuries because this was a brutal day. I mean, you had the Tatis and the Pete Alonso news come out. Thankfully, Pete Alonso doesn't look like he's going to miss any time. That was far and away the scariest injury to hear about. But let's start with Tatis because Fernando Tatis Jr. underwent surgery yesterday morning to prepare a break in his left wrist. He admitted to falling off of his motorcycle multiple times this offseason, according to Kevin Acee, the San Diego Union Tribune. So you've got a $340 million man who you just poured money into as a 22-year-old, and he's falling off of a motorcycle multiple times in the same offseason. I think I'd put the kibosh on the motorcycle.
So I went on a pretty big rant yesterday, just, talking about him being the face of baseball and, how he shouldn't be doing this. But then again, like, who am I to tell a player to what they're supposed to do in their off time? But the matter of the fact is that you're riding motorcycles in an off season, and you have to say which one, obviously being somewhat reckless. But what we're talking about here is a broken wrist that's going to keep him out until the middle of June. And what this does, I think it's getting AJ Preller ready to make a big move. We've seen them in on Freddie Freeman. We've seen them in on Nick Castellanos, Michael Conforto. They were in on Schwarber as well. It's clear that Preller is feeling the pressure, and I think he's going to make a big splash.
He could. Yeah, you and Aram were talking about that yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think Aram said, yeah, he thinks that Preller is going to strike like now. I floated the idea of like having a stopgap after we learned about the Tatis news. I floated the idea to you about Nick Ahmed or someone like that, just like getting him over there, buying yourself 3 months. But they got to win like right now.
I've also seen them now in on Chris Bryant, possibly making Chris Bryant the third baseman, Manny Machado the shortstop.
Yeah. It's hard because you have Hosmer and Will Myers as sitting ducks on that team.
They got to trade them. They just have to get rid of that somehow, like almost trade them for free. Not Myers. Myers, you can get maybe something. Hosmer, you got to basically just put Luis Campusano with him and just send him for anything.
But who's going to pick that up?
I don't know. That's the problem. Maybe the Red Sox miss out on, that doesn't make any sense. They're waiting for Tristan Casas and they got Bobby Dalbec, but that doesn't seem like a Chaim Bloom move, does it?
But homecoming in Kansas City just shed about $8.5 million with Mike Minor. They went Mike Minor for Amir Garrett straight up to go down $9 million.
Do you think the Padres are desperate enough to attach like a CJ Abrams to a Hosmer in order to get an actual package?
No, God, no. That's a conversation that
I'm saying, like, get an actual package, like a big package, but like Hosmer goes with him to Kansas City. I don't know.
Like that's a conversation you got to have with ownership to see if they're willing to eat the Hosmer money. But like, if I'm AJ Preller, I'm sitting there like anybody but CJ.
I know that's the only thing that I'm saying, like, to get rid of that contract. It's probably the worst in sports. I'm just thinking the only way to get rid of it. Like, I don't think they don't want to trade Robert Hassel either. And Mackenzie Gore, depending on the team you talk to.
What's his value?
What's his value? So that's what I'm saying. It might have to be Hassel, or if we're just talking about the Royals here, because the Royals have MJ Melendez and they have obviously Salvi. I don't think they'd also take Campusano. They might, but that just seems like that doesn't really fit with them. But then again, they have Bobby Witt Jr. and CJ Abrams, but where's CJ Abrams going to play? So there's a lot of moving parts here. And this is all speculation, of course, too, with the Hosmer back to Kansas City.
Yeah. How about this? Breaking news from MLB Trade Rumors. Red Sox signed Dan Altavilla to a 2-year minor league deal.
Red Sox are in.
That happened. Another injury, this one for the Red Sox. Chris Sale has a stress fracture in his rib cage. He will miss several weeks. He will not be ready for opening day, per Alex Spear of the Boston Globe. That sucks for a guy coming back from Tommy John.
So if the Red Sox don't get Freddie Freeman, they're kind of getting screwed. They're kind of getting screwed right now. Sale goes down with an injury. They don't get the Seiya Suzuki. They don't get Kyle Schwarber. Chris Bryant never really made a lot of sense for them. Maybe Conforto is still in the cards, but they've kind of gotten a lot of hammers that they were connected to, and they didn't get all of them. I'm curious to see what the Red Sox are going to do at the end of this week.
We got to remember what they did before the lockout. Michael Wacha, James Paxton. Oh, hammers.
Dick Walkton.
Shit. Jack Flaherty says that his right shoulder has been bothering him all offseason long. He stayed true to the lockout. He didn't tell anybody with the Cardinals until the lockout was lifted. And he was like, oh, by the way, guys, the past 99 days, I've been a nervous wreck because my shoulder hurts.
That's not good for the St. Louis Cardinals, because what is the Cardinals' biggest issue? Starting pitching. And I know Cardinals fans are all over our TikTok, all over our Instagram, sending us a ton of love. Like, where is Trevor Story's coming here? Is Carlos Correa coming here? Who's the shortstop that's coming here? It seems increasingly evident that they will roll with Paul DeJong and Edmundo Sosa. They need a starting pitcher. Adam Wainwright, 40 years old. We love Wainwright. Wainwright could have another season like he did last year. None of us would be shocked, but he is 40 years old. Steven Matz, good signing, but a guy who has not been able to stay healthy his entire career. Miles Michaelis, another guy, not been able to stay healthy his entire career. And Dakota Hudson has almost no major league experience. But that's not to say Dakota Hudson can't pitch. He can in limited experience. He has looked good, but he just doesn't have the track record of eating 150 to 200 innings in any season. So this is not good for the Cardinals.
For the love of God. Go get Frankie Montas, you buffoons.
They should have gone Bassett. They shouldn't have let him go to the Mets because that wasn't that big of a deal. They should have gotten Bassett already.
You need some velo in that starting rotation.
True. You need some Hummers.
Go get 98.
Yeah, go get Montas. Or, I mean, there's no way Luis Castillo's getting traded for the Reds to the Cardinals. No way. No. And they'd have to give up Gorman or Liberatore or Walker, and
they wouldn't give up
Walker to do that either. So that's you're limiting yourself, Cardinals. You're saying those three guys are untradeable, basically capping yourselves at any legit free agent starter. And then they've already said that they're not going to go ahead not trade piece for a starter. And then they're not going to sign the big shortstop. So they're basically just not going to do anything.
Let's try and get John Mozeliak in this Zoom right now so we can tell him that we don't think Gorman's that good.
I mean, he is good, but he's not an untradeable lock to be an all-star.
He's not a lock to be good.
I think he's a lock to be pretty good.
He can't hit velo.
That's not a good sign.
Major League Baseball is velo. Like that. That's what big league ball
Stay
is.
Optimistic. No, but I can't just be optimistic and wrong. Like, you're right.
Like, you can be optimistic as long as it's just like, listen, I'll go to the point where I'm factually in the weeds, but when I'm factually just wrong, I can't be optimistic anymore.
Be optimistic, like Steven Brault could be a 2 in a rotation. Like, that's just being stupid.
Like, no, I'm the one that always goes
optimism.
up one.
Yeah, that's true. Optimism, at some point, you got to throw it out the window occasionally.
So if I say that Steven Brault is a 5 on his best day, that means he's not a big league starter.
Doesn't equate to being a big league starter when you're
Good
a
job,
5
Cubs.
on your best day.
God, I mean, Brault might start a game in the first week of the season.
Brault's like if Wade Miley cut off one of his arms.
Wade Miley, sneaky as Chicago Cub. Adley Rutschman is a Baltimore Oriole, but he will not be a Baltimore Oriole for the first week of the season. The Orioles are shutting him down for 2 to 3 weeks with a tricep strain, according to Nathan Ruiz of the Baltimore Sun. This was a guy, the top prospect in baseball by some, that was a likelihood to break camp with the team. And now it's a 0% chance that he breaks camp with the team.
I just feel bad for the Orioles, man.
Bad for Adley.
The AL East is fireworks right now. Everybody's making moves, trades, everybody's loading up. And then the Orioles, their number 1 prospect, arguably the best prospect in the entire game, but he's number 3 on justbaseball.com. That's not a good sign for the Orioles. And this is just not going to be their year. I mean, that doesn't have anything. I mean, Adley just being out a week, but it's tough times right now in Baltimore.
That's why they got to go sign Correa. It's a 1 year, $84 million.
85 million. I heard Astros offered 84. Baltimore's in on 85.
Fuck yes. Okay, cool. And then Colorado is going to up it to 112.
They're in on
right?
90. Yeah, they're in on 90.
90.
You know who's been one of the biggest pursuers of Chris Bryant?
The Rockies.
The Colorado freaking Rockies.
Yeah, they've long been number 1. I was just texting
there.
I was texting with Ethan Badowski, who writes for us. Ethan does great work, and he is also a Chris Bryant truther like I am. Mm-hmm. We might be the president and vice president. I'll let him take the president title of the Chris Bryant fan club. And I mean, we kind of bonded over the idea, like, I just have to be able to watch Chris Bryant. Like, I don't want to have to watch Rockies games. So I need Chris Bryant going anywhere but the Rockies. But Ethan brought up a great point. He said, but if KB goes to the Rockies, that finally gives me an excuse to get a purple jersey. So, okay.
Can I sell you on watching the Rockies?
No.
For a second?
No.
I'm going to do it anyway.
Thanks for the offer, though.
Brendan Rodgers is talented. Watching games that the Rockies play in is always chaos. I'm telling you, it is entertaining. Like when it's Rockies Dodgers at Colorado, the Rockies win 11-8, and it's just mayhem. And I'm telling you, some of those games are really fun. I've been on a lot of overs in Colorado, so I have been watching some Colorado Rockies games. I'm telling you, they are entertaining. Whether the players on the field are that high powered, it doesn't matter because just stuff happens at Coors Field. They are entertaining. You should watch.
I also kind of love Connor Joe. That's not a guy that you got to when you were naming players who should get more respect before the lockout was over. The lockout ended, so you didn't have to do that anymore.
No, over.
Connor Joe.
Connor Joe?
I'm
Connor
in.
Joe's good. Herman Marquez is fun. You know, he's actually a good pitcher. Austin Gomber, the guy that got in the Arenado deal, it wasn't all for nothing because Austin Gomber is going to be a pretty good pitcher for them next year. They signed Chad Kuhl and Jose Iglesias, so those are technically players who will be on the field.
I don't hate watching Ryan McMahon.
Right?
Yeah.
CJ Crone.
I don't mind watching Crone. I don't mind watching Kyle Freeland, actually, either.
Raimel Tapia.
I mind watching him.
that I'm okay with.
God, anything else we got to hit? There's been a lot of stuff. I just feel like we're on the hamster wheel right now. And then once opening day comes, we're going to just get right back to baseball. I'm so excited. Spring training ball starts today, right? Doesn't it start on Thursday?
Pretty sure it's already. Is it Thursday? God, the days and the times are just going so crazy. We're all live on TikTok right now as well. How you doing over there, TikTok? Chilling?
Organized games start today. Happy start of organized games.
College baseball is still going strong too. Minor league starting up soon. Baseball is so back, and this is so much fun. And then tomorrow's podcast, any of the deals that we missed on this one, because we are recording, of course, it's around 2:48 p.m. Eastern on Wednesday. We'll just cover them again on the Friday episode. So make the Just Baseball show your go-to coverage for all the trades and free agent signings. We're going to be talking about all of them. Also on justbaseball.com, we have a full free agency thread updated every single minute by our guy, Ryan Finkelstein, our managing editor. He's been just humming along moves on Instagram, which is tagged right here on we're live on TikTok right now. It's right here, but also for the people watching on YouTube and listening to the podcast on audio, Just Baseball Fans, at Just Baseball Fans, TikTok and Instagram. We're updating you guys on every move, all the injuries and all that kind of stuff. We're just humming along. Also, go get some Just Baseball merch. We got some merch sales yesterday. People are getting their hoodies. People are getting their t-shirt. I'm rocking the polo right now. But people in the TikTok comments are just wondering whether Jose Ramirez will be a Blue Jay. And I got to be honest with you, it seems unlikely. But if they do get him, it's over. They're the best team in the American League, and they probably are the best team in baseball, unless the Dodgers then get Freddie Freeman. Then Blue Jays, Dodgers in the World Series. If they get J-Ram and Dodgers get Freeman, it's a rocket show.
Listen, I'm turning off the stove. I'm walking away from the stove right now. We got spring training baseball today. 1:05 first pitch. The Red Sox and the Twins at JetBlue Park in Fort Myers. Michael Feliz is the only named starter for tomorrow right now. Have you ever heard that name before?
Michael Feliz, I have, right-hander.
Right? Yes. You had like a 1 in 1.5 chance of getting that right.
Got it right though.
Michael Feliz, nickname is Fuego. So I assume that we'll be seeing 96.
I could side with 96. I'm just excited to see baseball again. Remember, spring training is where, Jack and I, we did our predictions for the next year. Guess what we saw? The Vladimir Guerrero Jr. had 9 of the 10 hardest hit balls in spring training. So we're like, you know what? I think it's a good idea to bet on him to hit the most home runs in 2021. And what did he do? Hit 48 home runs and tied Salvador Perez. So, and also, Jack, we got to tease something that's coming soon.
Next week, we are starting our positional top 10s.
Remember those bangers, people? The top 10s, we're back. Top 10 catchers on Monday. So we're doing a big free agency, kind of a recap on Friday. Next week, top 10 catchers. It's going to be nice.
And enjoy your college hoops, folks.
And with that, thank you, everybody.